Today, mortgage stress shoots higher in December. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to the latest post covering finance and property news with a distinctively Australian flavour. We're releasing the results of our rolling household surveys today, which were completed before the latest round of bushfires started raging. Nevertheless, the results are a concern because the total number of households registering as financially stressed rose again to 32.7% of borrowing households. This represents 1.1 million households across the country and a predicted default count of 83,200 households, despite lower cash rates and some deeply discounted mortgages. Stress is assessed in cash flow terms, and when money in is not sufficient to cover the costs of the mortgage and other regular outgoings, the household is flagged as stressed. Granted, they may have the capability to tap into deposits, pull down on credit cards, or even sell property, but on a regular basis they are in strife. And we find a significant gap between those we assess as at risk and those who believe they do have financial difficulties. Many adopt the head in the sand approach and hope things will improve, but given the current economic outlook, we think that is a, courageous stance to take. The RBA reported their E2 selected household ratios to September just before Christmas, and weirdly, the entire debt-to-income ratio series was restated lower, not just the current quarter, but back through the series. As a result, the average debt-to-income ratio dropped from 191 to a still high 186.5. Now, we've always had an issue with this series because it includes small businesses and households without borrowings, but the downshift in the series is quite significant and, unexplained. I've written to the RBA asking for an explanation. And note, this is not the first time that they have revised the series down, yet they do not include any explanation in their dataset. Across the states, the Northern Territory, South Australia and Tasmania recorded the highest proportion of households in difficulty, though Western Australia has the highest default probability risk over the next 12 months at 4.2%, whereas the three most populous states, Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland, sits at 2.2%. Victoria, proportionally to New South Wales, has a higher mortgage stress reading. Among the DFA household segments, 57% of young growing households are in mortgage stress, and within this group there is a large cohort of first-time buyers. 2.5% of these households risk default in the next 12 months. 47.5% of battling urban households are also in mortgage stress, and 1.7% risk default ahead. Many of these households occupy property in the urban fringe, often on newish, high-density estates. The largest cohort is the disadvantaged fringe group, with 300,000 households in stress and 13,000 risking default. Stress continues to build in our most affluent segments too, with young affluent households at 11.3% or 4,400 households, and exclusive professionals at 21.5% in stress and 3.4% risking default. Losses from this exclusive group are expected to be as high as $1 billion and is the most value-exposed group from a lender's perspective. Across the regions, the central west of Queensland has 75% of households in stress, but that's only 300 households, followed by Alice Springs at 65% with around 2,000 households exposed. But in the larger urban centres, Adelaide has 35.9% of households exposed, which equates to 75,000 households, followed by Brisbane and Moreton Bay at 29.2% or 148,000 households, Melbourne at 28.9% or 213,000 households, and Sydney at 26.9% with 178,000 households under stress. And across the top postcodes, Toowoomba 4350 is the highest count at 7,300 households or 48%, followed by Liverpool 2170 at 49% or 7,080 households. Next, Fountain Gate and Narrow Warren 3805 with 6,918 households or 59%. And in Western Australia, Hocking, Tapping and Wanneroo with 45% of households, which equates to 6,732 households. Given the current economic settings, we expect stress to continue to rise, and shortly we'll be looking at the latest Household Financial Confidence Index from DFA, which continues to highlight challenging times for more and more households. But in closing, as I often say, households would do well to drop a cash flow to identify money in and money out, determine which spending is essential and prioritise accordingly. And remember, if you are in financial difficulty, banks have an obligation to assist. So go talk to them early. Avoid the head in the sand posture, as it leaves other parts horribly exposed. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.